Okay, so guess we're gonna do some more videos today. Again, it's like another brain dump, things that's been on my mind. Today is Friday, August 16th. So my second video within a week. A few things. So I'm sure some stuff is going to apply to me. I'm not going to speak on certain situations because, again, out of respect for people's privacy, and just not knowing what's going to happen today, or it's just like a video diary for me. I'm trying to look at to see. I wrote some notes down because what happens is that I see videos. The algorithm is strong because it constantly sends me videos, posts, things that match what I'm going through at the moment or somebody I know close to me is going through. And I guess it sometimes like just gives me like that feel that the universe is speaking to me sometimes, because I have questions and I have concerns and I have just these feelings that I don't always trust myself with making. Also, I feel like when I pray, I don't understand if what I'm hearing is my inner thoughts, me and my insecurities, because I overthink a lot, or is it really God sending me a sign? Typically, afterwards, I start seeing things like, that was God all along. You know what I'm saying? But during the actual moment, I have a hard time recognizing, is it me giving myself guidance or my intuition, or is it God speaking to me? I have a really hard time understanding. So, let's see. So one of these, one second. I sent some videos, but I guess it didn't back up, maybe. What's today? It's August now. So yeah, I sent an email. So one of the things I'm trying to see is, what was it? Country Wayne. I watched, like I said, I watched some of his videos, and one of the characters I'm not a fan of, but she was going through something like where prior to her marriage, her wedding, she was sleeping with her ex while she was engaged to her now husband. And when they got married, you know, she cut everything loose, everything go. She let everything go. Her husband ends up finding out that she was sleeping with her ex, who's his business partner. And, you know, they never really got past it. And her husband was trying to sleep with her best friend. That's how he found out about it. Well, so let's bring it from then to here. So they have never gotten back to a good place. They've always been like tit for tat. Their trust issues, their insecurities have both affected them both. Like they rushed into getting together. And instead of them trying to take counseling and, you know, work through what they were going through, they just like moved past it. Well, her best friend is pregnant by her husband. She doesn't know anything about it. And then she got pregnant. And all this drama going through, she losing her baby. She said, why am I being punished? So one of the comments from one of the viewers said, sometimes what we feel is a punishment from God is actually protection from God. So when I heard that, it's like things started clicking to me. It was like, how often do we make plans for ourselves and it doesn't go through. And then we're like, God, why are you punishing me? Why didn't this work out? Well, sometimes maybe that's because we make our own decisions not based on what God, without keeping God in our plans. Like, you know, you're supposed to pray about it and let God direct you. But sometimes because we, and I'm guilty of it too, we can't recognize God's voice, or he's not responding to us fast enough, we make our own decisions. And God gives us free will. So I feel like maybe we make these decisions to where it's like, okay, I'm assuming this is what God is telling me to do. I'm assuming this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Or I want to do this. I'm going to take control of my life. I'm going to do this. And God lets us do it. But sometimes we could be just going a little too far off path to where God is like, okay, my child, I got to protect them. So I'm going to end this. And because we get hurt, we start to feel like God is punishing us. And I'm learning from this, because I feel like there are so many things that I know for a fact for me that I have tried to do and it never worked out. And I'm just thinking, like, whether it's a relationship, whether it's pregnancy, whether it's a job that ain't gonna go through. Like, for example, for me, I made my first video, I made a post that I hated my job. My job was draining the life out of me. But I was still trying to give everything I could for this job, trying to ask my manager for, you know, more training for certain things, because I want to gain the knowledge needed and experience needed to become like a team leader trainer. I've had a lot of experience in pharmacy to where I could easily be a supervisor. I could easily be a team lead. I could easily be a trainer. But I was asking, like, hey, you got any projects for me to do? You have all this, like, overextending myself, like trying to be like one of the top employees, bending over backwards, like working on my days off, volunteering to stay late, volunteering to come in early, volunteering for more projects, volunteering for all these things, and trying to work every single holiday just so I could stand out, trying to overexert myself again for a position that I knew that I hated. I hated being in this department. I hated in this role. But because I was dedicated in my need to grow, I was like, okay, I'm going to try to make lemonade from my lemons. Well, me making that video, like, my job was literally draining me. Like, it really hit me this year, like, where I was sitting at my desk and I just started crying, because I was just like, God got so much for me, and I know my strengths, and I know the kind of person I am, and I'm sitting in a position that I'm not using any of my gifts. And I feel like I was just setting myself back, and I was trying to still do. So I ended up applying for a job that I didn't even know that I was qualified for. And I just winged it. You know, with my interview, I was honest, I was relaxed, and I got the job. And I was thinking, well, maybe because I didn't get these other opportunities with my previous job, it's because if I did get that promotion within that department, I would still be in the place where I wasn't happy and not feeling I was being of use or anything with anybody. So maybe God was protecting me from those positions to push me to apply for a different opportunity. And it was a job that I didn't think that I was going to even qualify for. I ended up getting a job. And I love my job. And it's been a very long time since I said I love my job, especially within the first 3 months of my job. So I was thinking, like, how often do we think of, is it punishment or is it God's protection? Is it, I wrote notes down, but it didn't sync up on my other phone. But I just think that there's so many things that we always try to plan for, because if you really think about it, we're foolish every day if we think, when we try to make plans for the next day, we don't really know if we're gonna make it to the next day or not. We all have plans to go somewhere, do something next month, next year, and God can change it within a finger snap, or some of a finger. One of my aunt's best friend passed away last night. She had plans, to do they had plans this year to do stuff, and she got sick out of nowhere, and ended up passing away. And I was thinking how we take things for granted, we never know what God's plan is for us. We never really know why things happen. It's like bad things happen to good people. Well, bad things happen to bad people, good things happen to bad people, good things happen to good people. Things just happen. And I think it's because the fact that I truly believe God uses every single one of us as a blessing and a lesson for somebody. So let's see, for example, today I'm not married. I don't have any kids. Does it hurt that I'm not married or have kids right now? Yes. Yes and no. I feel like other people put expectations on me because I'm not married based on their timeline or their time frame. Well, you've been with so and so for this amount of time, you should be married. If it's meant for us to be married, we will be married one day. I'm not going to rush marrying somebody because of someone else's expectations on telling me when I should be getting married. Now, if I have a time frame or a time limit on when I want to get married, that's one thing. But I'm not making a decision for my life based off of someone else's decision or their idea of how long I should be married. I'm not going to buy a house based off of someone else says. Someone will say, oh, well, you pay this much for rent, you could be buying a house. You're absolutely right. But do you ever think that maybe I don't want a house because of the maintenance and responsibilities that comes with the house? I don't. I'm not a maintenance kind of person. I'm barely a DIY person. So if I can live in an apartment that I like, have it decorated the way I like, in the area that I like, and I can call somebody to come and fix it for me that I gotta pay extra for, I'm going to do it. And like I said, I don't have any kids. Now, if I had kids, maybe I would be more interested in buying a house because I want my kids to be in a safe neighborhood and have an area that's safe for them to play. So maybe that'll happen when I have kids. Outside of that, I may be okay with having me a great apartment or a townhouse. I am not the kind of person that's like, oh, I have to have a house. For what? I don't want to commit to a 30-year mortgage if I don't plan on being there for a long time. I'm not the kind of person like, I'm going to have this 30-year mortgage for this house and then 5 years later go into a different house. I'm not doing that. That is not for me. I'm the person where right now, if I decide one day that, you know what, I've been in Houston long enough, I want to see what else is out there, let me try going to another city, state, or a country, I want to be able to get up and go. I don't want to worry about trying to sell my house or try to find someone to rent my house to. I want that freedom to come and go. Stay another year there or 5 years there and then go. Somebody else will say, well, that's not stable for you. Stability, as long as I have a job to take care of myself, that's all I care about. I want to experience things. So if I want to, say, maybe spend a lot of money in investing in an RV or something, and I'm like, you know what, for 1 year or for 6 months, I'm just going to travel in my RV. If I can do that, I can do that because I don't have kids. Now, if I had children, I think, yes, I would want to be more settled so that I could give my children stability. But even sometimes kids need experience and see that there's other things out there. So I'm just like, your plan is not my plan. Maybe God's plan for me is actually be free, because you've lived your whole life trying to make other people happy and be there for other people, but you're never there for yourself. Maybe the reason I don't have kids is because, and I'm not saying the person I'm with is bad or not, maybe it's just now our time for kids, because kids add extra stress to a situation. They don't always make the situation better. I don't want to be the kind of person like, well, I'm going to use my children, I'm going to have a baby to make my relationship better or to keep him here. Or he's not going to lay with me, so I'm saying, well, I'm going to just give her a baby so I can trap her. We're not like that. So my thing is, maybe this is not our time right now to have children. Maybe it's a time for us to experience each other and travel with each other and then have children. Maybe God said, Ashley, your heart is just too big for you to have just one child, because there are other children out here, homeless, in foster care, or that's going to be born soon, that needs somebody right away. Because I know that if I'm pregnant and about to have a baby right now, or a newborn, I don't have time to take care of other people's business or other people's other people's issues. I can't rescue anybody if I have a newborn here to focus on, if I have my own family to focus on. I can't rescue anybody. So maybe it's the fact that maybe there's a child out there that's on its way, and they're going to be like, Ashley, we need you to step in to take this baby or take these kids. I can do that because I don't have kids. I have the free time to step in, to take care of two children with open arms and not judge them by where they came from. Maybe that's the reason I don't have kids right now. Who knows? I've always prayed about the kind of mother I wanted to be. I've always prayed about the kind of lifestyle to have. All I wanted was just to have a home to provide for my kids to come home to, a safe environment, and a stable, loving place. If I don't have that right now, why do I want to bring in a child to that situation? That's just me, So maybe what we think is punishment from God is just Him protecting us right now. Or our plans may not align with God's plan. And ultimately, regardless of what we're going to do, God has His plan for us. It's like if you are an adult and you have a child and you have plans for your child, you say, I'm sending you to school, you're going to come home, do your laundry, you're going to come home, or your chores, you're going to come do your homework, you're going to do this, take a bath, go to bed. If your child comes to you and say, well, I don't want to do that, I'm going to go, I'm not going to go to school, I'm going to go skip school and play with my friends and go hang out, and I'll come home when I want to come home. What adult or what parent is going to allow that to happen when they have a child of their own? Maybe that's God doing that to us. I'm like, God, I'm going to go buy me this brand new car. I'm going to apply for this job. I'm going to go here. And God's saying, you can try, you want to, but you're not, I don't want you to. That's not my plan for you, so you're not going to do that right now. So I'm just thinking about that. Maybe I'm not married right now because, again, it may not be our time. You know, I've said that I want to build a strong relationship because I don't want to be the person who gets blinded by the thought of a wedding, or because they start showing me all these nice things ahead of time, I'm blind to the other side of them. And I get sometimes people wait until you're married to show the ugly side. But I don't want to be that person where within my first 2-3 years I'm signing divorce papers because I can't take anymore. Like I said, everybody has their own limits. Everybody has their own line, like their boundary, like running, like I'm not going here. Like I've reached my boundary. I'm not doing it no more. If that's what people decide to do, then hey, more power to you. That's fine. But I personally just, I want something stronger, something. I want to have that marriage that when I have kids and I have grandkids, I can tell them my story. And I can tell them, like, yes, it's going to be hard, but you can get through it if this person is the one you want to be with. The person I'm with right now, of course, I have always loved my partner. When we got together years ago, it was not planned on us to be together. It just happened. And some things I would say we did rush into because it's like it was just me going with the flow, and it just went where it went, which is good because it just led there. But me on my part, I didn't speak up on things like I was supposed to. So there are things that didn't work out, but when we didn't work out, we had time in between where we genuinely built a friendship. And I could say this person was the person I trusted more than anybody, to where it was like when the opportunity came again for us, we took advantage of it and jumped head in. Now, do I say that that was the smartest thing to do? No. Am I going to say that it's working for us? Yes and no. Like, we're both growing, because the person that I was back then, I'm not fully that same person now. The person that he is now is definitely not who he was back then. He's actually changed for the better. So we still both got shortcomings because we're both human. We still have shortcomings because we are constantly changing. When you are a person, just anybody, when you go through life events or things are going to change. You're not always going to be the same person. I'm not going to be the same person I was in December last year when we get to December of this year, because things have happened throughout this year that has changed me. Things have happened to my partner this year that could have changed him. So we're not the same people. So we're constantly changing. It's just the fact that I feel like communication is a really big deal, because you're constantly changing. What you may feel at one point was okay and that you want to do, well, maybe something may have changed where it's like you step back and you're like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do that, not that way. Let's try something else. But you got to communicate with your partner so that y'all can both be on the same page, or at least have an understanding. Because not every conversation, not everything you're going to do, you're not always going to be on the same page with each other. But at least if you have an understanding, like there's things that he may believe in, and I'm just like, I don't believe in it, but I'm understanding why you believe in it, and I'm going to respect your feelings on this. Let's find a compromise. So, communication is a really big deal. So, again, we all have work to do. There is no couple that is perfect. They may have good seasons, but every couple has gone through a season of trouble, or they will be going through a season of trouble. I understand that when I say I want to have a strong relationship, a strong foundation, it may take longer to build that foundation with that person than someone else. Not all houses are built the same. Some houses they rush to build a house, and then when the first storm hit, that house can easily crumble. But then there's another house that had more time and care and thought put into that foundation, to where when that house is built, though many storms can come, and that house will still be standing. And that's where I'm trying to be. So I understand, like, when they say, when you go to the gym, you want to become stronger, but you're gonna have to add more weight. The weight doesn't change, but your strength does change. So while yes, I do want to be married one day, I'm not in a rush to get married, because my main focus is focusing on the foundation. Because if this is the person you're going to be with the rest of your life, forever is a long time. You don't know how long you have left on this earth, but you're choosing to be with this person the rest of your life. So, I would definitely like to make sure my foundation is good. I don't care how long it takes, because I'm not in a rush on somebody else's time. And we definitely have work to do. Like, all of us have work to do. So that's what was in my mind today, was just like, maybe God's, what you think is God's punishment is God's protection. You don't know what kind of lesson you're going to be to somebody. I saw another image, like another post that said something like, the devil, I'm going to paraphrase. Basically, the devil has used these things to kill you, but you're still here, and God is using what was used to kill you, used to bless other people. So, with that being said, I have been very open about me and my previous attempts of committing suicide. It is what it is. I'm still here. There are people who are battling drug addictions, sexual abuse, neglect, physical abuse, abandonment, men going through things, women going through things. There's people being homeless, evictions. There's so many things that's going on in the world that people are experiencing. While yes, what you went through was a lot, you didn't die in it. You survived it. Some people don't survive it. That's the thing. There are some people who have attempted to commit suicide or was going through withdrawals and end up dying. But the fact is that you went through all of this and you're still here, you're still standing. I think it'll be very foolish and I'm going to say foolish, selfish, to not share your story with somebody else. Because, again, we all go through something, and you don't know who's going through what, who's watching you, who's listening to you. You don't know what kind of impact you can make to someone else. And I feel like, for me, with my scenario, because I didn't have anybody to go to and say I need help. I was too ashamed of being judged, being hated, being talked about, um, being called crazy, being called, oh, you're just being dramatic, you're just trying to seek attention. I didn't have anybody for that. And I didn't have anybody who said to me, Ashley, I went through the same thing, but we're going to make it through. I didn't have that. I didn't have people who were seeing signs that I was doing that. The only person who saw signs of me hurting myself was my mother, because I overdosed on some pills. I took a handful. I think it was, she had went to the dentist and they gave her Tylenol with codeine. And this one day I took a handful of her medication. She didn't have it sitting out, but I found it. I took a handful of pills. I poured it out and I took a handful of it. And the only reason she found out is because of when she found me. And she said, what's wrong with you? And I told her what happened. And then there was times that I tried cutting myself that she didn't know about. And there was a time that she caught me cutting myself. And it was actually the night before my cousin's wedding that I tried killing myself. I forgot what something was said to me that triggered me, and I was in the kitchen and I grabbed a knife and I went for my wrist, and my mother walked right in at the time that I was putting the knife to my wrist, and that was the last time that I've ever did it. But I'm not ashamed to say what I did. One, because again, my hope is to, one, show myself a year later that, damn, Ashley, you really went through something and you're still here. So this is encouragement for me, but it's also encouragement to somebody else who may come across my videos and be like, okay, she went through the same shit, but she's still here. What if I have a daughter, and she's being bullied or being withdrawn? There may be signs that I can be more aware of when my kids go to school. Or if I can start seeing changes in my kids, I can be more aware of it quicker than someone else may be, or faster than someone else may recognize it. So, I just really think that, views are lessons. Like, that was a lesson for me, but my lesson could be a blessing to somebody else. So I am fully aware, I'm just trying to be a blessing to somebody else and still encourage myself, because, like I said, my family is very private and sometimes can be judgmental, but the love is there. The love is there. It still is the fact that, because sometimes we can be so judgmental, when somebody actually needs help, they're scared to go to the people who are closest to them to get help because they're afraid of being judged. I may confide in you about something, what's going on, but I don't need you to go broadcast my business through the grapevine of the family. And sometimes, things have happened like that. There has been times like, there was a day that I was on some medication, and the one person told someone else that I was on this medication for a different reason outside of what it was actually prescribed for. And instead of anybody coming to me saying, Ashley, are you okay? Is there something you want to talk about? It went through the whole grapevine. And then it only came back to me because someone told my mom. And my mom took the time to say, "Are you okay?" during the talk. And then I told her, it's like, well, what they're talking about is this medication right here for this reason that you already know about. And she was like, oh. But it pissed me off because I was like, not one person decided to come to me to say, Ashley, are you okay? Because God forbid something may have actually happened to me and I don't want anybody to know, but I need an outlet. But instead of coming to me to say, Ashley, are you okay? You need to talk about something. Y'all go and spread like wildfire. So, that made me feel like, there are just some things that I'm not going to talk to y'all about. I'm not going to confide in about, because you just showed me right there is like, it was more important to broadcast my business about something you don't know nothing about than to see if I was okay. And there are a lot of people, and there are a lot of people who have this same situation with their families, where they will be so judgmental about something that they don't want to tell anybody anything. Because I say we, I mean me too, because we are all human. We are so quick to forget that we have made mistakes. We have made bad decisions. We have skeletons in our closet. But we're quick to judge somebody else, not knowing what battles they're going through behind closed doors. So that's why my goal right now that I'm working on is, if you can't be a part of the solution or the resource, then just mind your business. Because all you are now is you're just trying to add, it's almost like you're cleaning up a mess and somebody's just standing on the side saying, you missed a spot, you missed a spot, you missed a spot. But you're not grabbing the mop or rag to help me clean up this mess. You're just pointing out what the shortcomings are. Or you're in a boat sinking, and instead of someone trying to throw a rescue line to you, they're just sitting on the sidelines with the camera watching you. And I'm just trying to be a better person, and I want to be I want to be helpful to people. I know that I cannot solve everybody's problem. I know that I can't save everybody, even though I try to. That's one of the things, that I try to save everybody. And I can't rescue everybody. That's God's work. I'm not God. I just try to be helpful because I feel like that saying is that be the person you needed when you were growing up. So I try to be a better person, try to be helpful and hands-on with people, but there are some people who are just there to take. And then once they get what they get out of you, they just bounce, So that was another thing I was thinking about. The other one I was thinking about is trusting God's plan. I know I said before that I don't know why I'm doing this on social media, YouTube. Some videos I do post on my social media. At times I don't. I just think it depends on what message I'm saying, because right now I feel like maybe this is the way for me to get what's on my mind out, and maybe someone else can also come across it and may find something to talk about with this, or maybe someone is going through something similar to this and they can give me encouragement or can encourage somebody else. There's a lot of things. So trusting God's plan. Like I said, there's a lot of things that we don't know why God is doing things. Like, why did she die yesterday? I know everybody dies every single day. People die every single day. Babies are born every single day. People get married every single day. People get evicted every single day. People, you know, every single day somebody's life is changing. I just feel like, you know, the things, what's the saying, is I lean on to God's word, not on your own understanding, something like that. I don't read the Bible that much, so I can't really quote the Bible, but I listen. But there's just times where we just really have to understand that God has a plan for all of us, and while we may not agree or understand, we have to find peace with it, because at the end of the day, if you believe in God, you know that God created you. He's the beginning, He's the end. So He's the only person who knows how our story is going to end and when it's going to end. He's the only one who knows what events are going to happen in our life. So we just have to really stand on His word and just trust. And it's not always easy to trust God, especially when you can't go to Him and ask Him the specific question and get the specific answer. Like, I remember times where, was it 2016? I was joining a church, and in Las Vegas. I lived in Las Vegas for a little bit. I just joined the church there. We had to go to a whole few weeks of Bible study. And one of the things the pastor was saying is that if the Bible had an answer, a specific answer for everything in the Bible that we had, in every question we had in the Bible, how much would we rely on God? Because basically it's like God wants to have a relationship with us. So if we have all the answers, why do we need to go to God? Because we know our answers. We know what's coming. We know what to do. We have the direction. We don't really need to go to God then, because we have all our answers. If you had every answer to anything, would you go to school? No, because you have the answers. You don't need to be educated because you have the answers. If you have a book that has all the answers in it, you wouldn't read the pages and learn how to study. You just go back to the back of the page to get those answers. So that's what I was thinking about. Like, stand on His word and trust that God is going to take care of you. He's not going to do anything that's going to hurt you. Growth does not feel good. If you are wearing, for most people, if you are in your 30s, you're not wearing the same clothes, the same size clothes you were when you were like 10. Same clothes, same shoes, because you grew. Do you know how uncomfortable it would have been to still be in that same clothing at your age now? You have to, when you grow, you're going to grow, and you're going to be placed in different areas because you outgrew the area you were in. You know, so that's something I was just thinking about with that. There was something else I wanted to talk about. But yeah, I'm sure I'll think about it again and make another video. But that was just on my heart today. It's just like, just stand on His word and trust Him. You know, if you're going through a breakup right now, that does not mean life is over, because we have not met every person who is going to still love us, who's going to love us. We have not become our best selves yet. We still have room to grow. As long as we have air in our body and God keeps us on this earth, that means He has a plan for us. So we're not done yet. So you don't know what the future holds. And, you know, you're going to get through it. A breakup may just be a break for y'all both to get yourselves together and then get back together later on. Become better people and then get back together. You may have lost the baby because it maybe wasn't your time. Maybe your body wasn't going to be able to go through birth and you could have died. So instead of you dying, maybe God took the baby and will give you one later on when your body is together. Maybe you're just too busy right now to slow down to get pregnant. Maybe I am too worked up mentally and emotionally to be able to carry a baby to full term. Maybe you're not married because this person is not the one for you, or you're not the one for him, or y'all both have to become the person that the other person needs in a spouse. Maybe y'all are still growing. Maybe you guys are still learning each other before you can commit to that. Maybe you didn't get a house because God is either preparing you for a bigger house. Maybe you didn't get that loan because you were losing your job was going to go through layoffs soon, and you couldn't afford a house. You know, there are so many things that are happening in our lives right now that, you know, we just have to really trust it. Maybe it's not always about punishment. Maybe it's just about God's protection. Maybe it's about God's plan. You know what I'm saying? It could be, what if you are with somebody, y'all get pregnant, lose a baby, and God is like, okay, at least you know you can get pregnant, so you don't gotta stick with this person. You can move on. You'll still get pregnant one day. Or, I mean, I can keep saying or all day. Like, there's so many scenarios, you know what I'm saying? So I am just in deep thought today. You know, my heart is heavy for a lot of reasons. Like, you know, I'm going through some shit right now to where it's heavy, it's hard, it's hard. But you know, we're gonna get through it because I've been through worse. You know, my thing was, if I could lose a mother who was the center of my world, I can go through anything, because God showed me then was that he listens to me and that he's not going to leave me. You know, so before I go, I'm gonna say this. My mom went into a coma, and I screamed, I cried, broke down. I remember saying, God, like, I beg you to take care of her. And after she got out of her coma, you know, it was maybe the following week after her coma, I met with the doctor. Well, no, excuse me. I walked in on a conversation between the doctor and my dad, and they were saying she only had 6 to 9 months left to live. And that car ride from the hospital to my job, and from my job to my apartment, to back to the hospital, I prayed constantly. I said, God, if you're going to take my mother, please don't let her be in any pain. Don't let her suffer. Don't let her be scared, and not to be alone. And if you please let me be with my mother. I want to be with her when she dies. I don't want her to be by herself. I don't want her to be her. I don't want her to be with strangers dying. And my boss told me when I found out that she was dying, I went to my boss and she said, God has a final say. It can be 6 to 9 months. It could be 9 to 12 years. Well, unfortunately, it was only 7 days. And the way things worked out that week was that I was able to be with her. And I was able to be with her that night and share beautiful moments with her that no one else is going to say they had with my mother. I was lucky enough to have caught things on camera that I still have to this day. I was able to share precious moments with her uninterrupted by anybody else. I didn't have to share her with her husband, her sisters. Call it selfish, I don't care. Like, that was my mother, and I was able to have these moments with her that no one can say they got. So I'm blessed with that right there. My mother died peacefully. She wasn't on any pain meds. She was getting a bath as she passed away. She didn't make the choking noise that people make when they're dying. She passed away peacefully. And it was just me and her. The PCA was there who was giving her a bath, but it was me and my mother. And I felt at that moment like, God, you answered every single request I had within a week's time. So I know God is real, and I know God listens to me. And if there's ever times where I had any doubt that God did not listen to me, that was the moment that He showed me that He's always going to be there for me, no matter what I go through. And I have peace with that because, I got my final wish with her, and I was okay with it. She wasn't suffering. So, just that it was the I don't know, it was a story or was it in the Bible, but it was saying like where it was like the footsteps in the sand, where they were like at one point there was only 2 footsteps, and two steps was like one pair of feet, or like one person was walking, and the person who was saying is like, God, why did you leave me? Because he saw that it was just those 2 footsteps, that it was just him walking by himself, and God said, that was me carrying you. I honestly felt like God carried me through that because I held it together through those times, because I felt like God was the one who was carrying me through all of that. So this is where I'm saying, like, we have to trust God, knowing that He's going to be there with us. He's not going to forsake us. He's not going to allow us to die in our issues. Whatever we're going through is a lesson or a blessing, and I feel like it's protection. And just trust that even though it's painful now, it hurts today, you're going to come through it, and it's going to be better. You're going to be okay. That was pretty much it, though. So like I said, trust God. Try to find understanding, and sometimes if you don't have understanding, and you can't understand why these things are happening, or you're going through something like that, pray to God, like, God, please bless me with the understanding. It's okay to tell God that you don't understand. It's okay to tell God that you're upset. It's okay to tell God that I don't understand why this is happening. But it's okay to also ask God to give you the peace that you're going to come through whatever you're about to go through. If you're in the midst of a storm right now, storms don't last forever. They don't. It may last longer than some, but it does not last forever. Darkness does not last forever. So it's just about trusting God's word. We have to trust God. We have to trust that He is going to be there for us, and we're going to be okay. So if anybody is listening to this, going through something, trust and believe that think of the worst things you've been through, and think that you and know that you came out of it. But there also may be something you have to go through that could be even worse than something else. But you're still going to get through it. And this is me encouraging myself right now, because right now where I'm at, I don't know left or right now. I'm scared. I'm sad, but I know that whatever is happening is going to work out the way it's supposed to work out. It's only a season, you know. So we're going to be okay. Like I said, chin up. Guys, it's not a punishment, it's God's protection.